you ever felt guilty throwing out something you didn't even want? Not because it was useful, not because you even liked it, but because getting rid of it made you feel like you'd lost something, even when you knew it was clutter. That's not disorganization. That's not laziness. That right there is the real reason decluttering is so hard. It's not the mess. It's not the energy. It's not even the time. It's the loss. And your brain hates loss. There's a principle in behavioral economics called loss aversion. And once you understand it, you'll never look at clutter the same way again. It says that the pain of losing something is about twice as strong as the pleasure of gaining something new. So when you're holding that old dress you haven't worn in a decade, or the extra coffee maker you forgot you even owned, and you still feel that slight hesitation, that's not sentiment, that's evolution. Because back in our caveman days, losing a possession might have meant losing warmth, or food, or status. Your brain learned that loss equals danger. And it served us when resources were scarce, but now we are surrounded by stuff, more stuff than we'll ever use. And that ancient survival instinct, it's starting to work against us. Let's talk about that just-in-case clutter. You know, the drawer with random chargers, old remotes, mystery keys that open absolutely nothing. We keep it because, well, what if we need it someday? But what we're really doing is protecting ourselves from the pain of making a wrong decision. That's classic loss aversion. Your brain is telling you that you're better to keep this useless thing than risk needing it and feeling like an idiot. But how often does that actually happen? Most of the time, we could borrow, replace, or, let's be honest, live without it entirely. The cost of keeping it isn't money, it's mental clutter. And peace of mind is worth way more than a $10 phone cord from 2007. You've upgraded the phone, let the cord go. Let's shift now to sentimental clutter. I was working with a client to sell their cottage, and the client was holding on to a chipped mug from her dad's cottage. She never used it. The handle was crazy glued back together, and there were chips along the lip, but she couldn't part with it. She said, if I let this go, it feels like I'm letting my dad go. That's what loss aversion looks like in real life. It wasn't about the mug. It was about the memory, the connection, the identity. But here's the truth. Your memories don't live in mugs. They live in you, in your heart, in the way you talk about loved ones, in the way you smile when you hear an old fishing story. So we kept the stories. And we let go of that leaky mug. And for her, it felt like release, not loss. Okay, I have to admit something now. If you've seen a few of my videos, you may already know this, but I used to have an ice cream maker. I bought it. It was nice. It was stainless steel, top of the line, promised ice cream in minutes. And it whispered, "You are totally the kind of mom who makes homemade ice treats every weekend." But here's the thing. I don't make homemade ice cream. It takes time. It can be expensive. And I've found that it never had the consistency of store-bought ice cream. But I buy ice cream, preferably from Kawartha Dairy here in the Kawarthas, ideally with sprinkles. That ice cream maker sat in my cupboard for years, not because I used it, because I felt guilty that I didn't become the person who would. That's loss aversion again, but this time it's protecting the fantasy version of yourself, or myself, the one who alphabetizes spice racks and preps artisanal seasonal charcuterie boards. Wouldn't we all like to be that person? Maybe it's just me. But letting it go felt like admitting I'm not that person. On the flip side, letting it go made space for the person I actually am. One who has a little more room in her kitchen and a lot less guilt in her cabinets. Now let's talk about transitions. I'm talking about retirement, empty nesters, divorce, downsizing. These life shifts and changes shake up our identity. And sometimes we respond by gripping even harder to our stuff. We think we're anchoring ourselves, bracing for these life changes. But clutter isn't always comfort. Sometimes it's just a museum of the past. It says, remember when you were busy and needed 3 slow cookers? Or remember when your kids were little? Or remember when you thought you'd learn to knit? It's not just clutter, it's a time capsule. And eventually it stops grounding you and starts weighing you down. Letting go of these things doesn't mean forgetting the times in your life when they were relevant. It means honoring who you were while making room for who you're becoming. Once you understand that loss aversion is just an ancient survival instinct in a modern world, everything is going to start to shift. You start to realize you don't need more bins or more shelves. You just need to start asking yourself better questions. Not, what if I need this? But instead, what is it costing me to keep this? It's not just space. It's focus, it's time, it's emotional energy. Clarity doesn't come from organizing everything. It comes from deciding what actually belongs in your life. And here's the thing that no one tells you. After the stuff is gone, the silence shows up. And sometimes that silence is even louder than the clutter. Now that your home is clear, your mind starts asking harder questions. It thinks, what do I do now? Why doesn't this feel finished? Why is it still uncomfortable? If you're in that space, that awkward in-between, watch this next. Decluttering your home is not the hardest step. In this video, I talk about what comes after the purge, because sometimes decluttering is just the beginning. You've let go of the stuff. Now let's work on letting go of the guilt. I'll see you over there.